this is Post and Perspectives on the Front Burners, and it's time for us to hear from you. What do you think? Do you agree with the debate on the table? Which side are you picking? Okay, not to say that you get to pick a side. Actually, you just get to lend your voice to it, and then we hear and listen to your perspective on it. Like I said earlier, a number of issues have been discussed here on the Front Burners, from news analysis to policy discuss. So when we talked about the headline story of the federal government, or the Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, inaugurating a committee to drive economic growth and also bridge the gap when it comes to financial inclusion. Several responses were recorded online, so let's take your responses regarding that. So Jonathan Osai says the issue here is not commitment, is the political will to do the right thing. Seems the vice president understands how the economy works. Why can't you as vice president talk to the president in an open mind to make this work? We keep hearing reform and we are doing our best. And then Pinball says audio reaffirmation just for the media to have headlines. Putting it nicely, because Pinball actually used some words that I cannot say. I've not gotten read to that extent, because those words are not pleasant at all to be used. But I get your point. You don't believe in what the vice president is doing. And Babe Crypto says, are you a crypto miner? Do you have cryptos to sell or to give? But you call yourself Babe Crypto. So Babe Crypto says, are you guys not tired of promises? Are you not tired of talking? Why not let workings do the talking? Simply say, show workings. Are you not ashamed? Politicians has been talking since 1960. Nothing changed. This is 2025, not 1820. And then Nuruddin Abdulmajid says, you people should calm down and make Nigeria great again. If not, there is no rigging strategy that would save you and your boss, 2027. And then the last take from this, okay, this person just found a way to bring in the issue of NPower. You know how you're reading comments or the post on social media and somebody just slides in something unrelated, maybe say, I haven't eaten, or somebody gives me money or no. But Doc, what do you think? It seemed like a lot of people do not believe in this committee set up by the vice president, and some are saying that there have been so much of talk about reform. This is time for Nigerians to actually see the workings, Operation Show Workings.
Well, yes, I think a lot of them are correct, because we have huge trust deficits for public service in Nigeria, and people don't tend to believe whatever thing that government is saying, because there have been so many and several broken promises. And I think this is where the issues are. We've had committees upon committees, and at the end of the day, outcome comes out, and then, of course, the willpower to enforce what is decided by the committee, we really never see it. So a lot of people have got into that point to see committee as a waste of time and resource. And I think it's only just incumbent on the current administration to walk is talk. And that was why earlier on I said that it's not just enough to set up committees. Government may not be able to see all of all this. It's also good to put the KPIs on the table. What's the committee exactly going to do? And those things should have been made very public outside the talk that, oh, it's needed, we have to do it now. But we have to know exact thing that these people will be doing, so that the populace can actually hold the committee accountable and say, oh, we set up a committee in 2025, and we expected that this committee should do X, Y, Z. And then, of course, civil society organization, media houses, and all public citizens of the societies that are interested can actually track whether the committee is doing what they are supposed to do, or whether we are getting close to the inclusion that we actually so very much desire. And I think this is another opportunity for government to keep its word, that when you say something, means something.
Okay, we'll move on to the next issue. So the federal government hiked the private university application fees to 30 million naira. 5 million for form and 25 million for processing fee. So, and also imposed a one-year moratorium on this. Edwin Berry says it's still cheaper than US and the UK. Talk about a big boy, and someone thinking that 30 million naira is just a paltry sum for those who intend to have private universities to pay. And Ruang Patrick says even if it's 100 million naira, they will still pay. They have the money. Make it 200 million naira, the private universities will be more. Money is not your problem. Government through NUC should intensify regulations, not increment for license. And Darius Jessica says he has commercialized federal-owned universities, now using the hiking of the processing fees to extend same to private universities. And Last Minute Media says he is delivering on his promises. I wish him more success on more hikes. Everybody go do all right. And Edo Dada said, confused newspaper, how can Tinubu increase private university fees? On what grounds? He has no power to do that. He can only do that on public universities and not on private. So stop spreading fake stories. But away from whether it's the president who said it or it's the NUC that has said it, the fact remains that the application fees and processing fees for universities have increased. And some say that whether they increase it to 200 million, the universities will still pay. And someone was saying it is not about the fee increment, it's about regulation. Do you subscribe to that?
Oh, well, yes, regulation is part of the problem. So like I said, I'm just going to reiterate what I said. The government needs to make sure that whoever wants to establish a university should have money in place, should have a plan for that university, infrastructure-wise, the curriculum-wise, the workforce, the personnel that should constitute the workforce of that university. If we don't have this in place, don't come and try to poach from the federal universities or try to make lecturers keep 2 or 3 appointments. I think that will not augur well for our system.
Okay, yes, I subscribe to that as well. But Doc, you know that when universities are given approval, sometimes they buy an expanse of land, and then maybe when you drive past, you just see permanent sites or proposed permanent sites of XYZ University. In the meantime, they have commenced operations somewhere that if you look at the structure and the equipping of that structure, it is not fit for a university. What can be done to ensure that you do have your structure in place before you commence?
I think that person that made that comment was right in a way that it's just not about putting price for people to say, okay, come and take registration. That's small money. And of course, you know our ability to be able to network, as it were. That's less than $20,000 as we speak to buy a form. And so even if it's a $1 million, people can actually still source it from the outside to buy the form and keep it. And that's all of it. But I think that NUC should really insist that if people have to establish or seek a university license, they must, as a matter of fact, have structure in place. And that structure must be what NUC had to first assess and then come and check if they have capacity to run a university. Because giving somebody a license is one thing. And then, of course, the person has started. And we also see, even in the area where accreditations are done, that even instruments and structures are moved from one place to the other to just secure accreditation for universities. And you see, most private universities are actually tapping the resource of public university in terms of staffing. because they don't have what it takes to actually get a good hand to drive the entire process. So I feel it is important that we put the feet on the ground. That it's not just about applying. Do they have the capacity to actually run the courses that they intend to run? Are the laboratories there? Are the equipments that are in the faculties there? So what should be on the ground as a take-off point for this university to set up, not giving people university over a barren, empty land.
Okay, we'll touch on one last issue, and that's on International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Felix Chukwemeka says, please, why are we always liberating the girl child? Felix, don't you want women and girls to be, in your words, liberated? But this really, is it about liberation or having some inclusivity, Doc?
Well, I think since Beijing 30 years ago, and of course the establishment or the inauguration of the Girls Science, Women and Girls in Science Day by the UN 10 years ago, there had been this furore over empowerment of women. But when you look at the data really on the ground, and you see that we are almost getting to that equality. Take, for example, in computer and informatics, the world data says women has 40%. Now, in engineering, they have about 28%. And we're in AI, and they're doing about 22%. That's beautiful participation, if you ask me. But I think beyond just saying things is the fact that men and women should be given equal opportunities to prosper. And I think that's the only way we can find peace in the world. That's the only way we can find prosperity. It's even said that if Nigeria, for example, can actually get to that level of inclusion, over 25 billion can actually be added to our GDP because of women participation. And I think for prosperity is something that had to be driven. So we don't push the women to the back stage. We also have to have them in the front, also make choices, because the men have done it for too long. And I think it will just be right for women to also take the front seats.
Priya, you're smiling. Your thoughts in a minute, please.
Most of the times when we feel like, okay, the girl child this, the girl child that, the woman child, the women this and that. Well, the peculiarity of the sex, and they felt they should be given some form of an exemption to some things. Whilst that is not something that we should debate about because it is required and it is needed, we should also pay attention to the boy child.
Okay.
I want to be the father of the president of Nigeria.
Okay. And which sex do you want that to be, male or female?
No, the father to the woman president of Nigeria.
Okay. Don't worry. That will happen. I intend to run for office someday, so that means that we're in this.
You have my backing.
That's the show today, people. Thank you so much for watching. You can also share more comments when you go over to our social media platform at Sook News TV. Drop a comment, #frontburners, or you can leave a comment on our YouTube channel, #frontburners. I'm Blessing H. The show returns tomorrow, 7 a.m. West African time. Until then, I ask that you stay with Sook News TV. There'll be more news updates and exciting programs for your viewing pleasure. And Doc?
Idahosa Osama is my name. Tomorrow we will do it again. Stick with us. There are more programs coming on Sook Television. Just take hooked onto the channel and don't turn the dial.
And I'm Oyin Priya Kurumale. Many thanks for watching.